Week 2 is going to swing on who's not in pads. That's the show. Kansas City loses its field stretcher, Buffalo loses its interior hammer, and Cleveland's rookie spark? It's sitting on the shelf until somebody says otherwise. And I'm not hedging. Those 3 absences will flip drives and decide games this weekend. Let's start where the lights are hottest, the Super Bowl rematch. The Chiefs listed Xavier Worthy as doubtful. He's working back from that dislocated right shoulder, the one from the third play of Week 1 when he collided with Travis Kelce on a crossing route. He's been limited, catching passes with extra padding on the shoulder. Andy Reid said there's a slim chance he suits up, maybe some pregame work. He's doing very well, but they're optimistic more for Week 3 against the Giants. Translation? Plan like he's not playing. And while we're here, rookie Jalen Royals is out with a right knee. So your vertical juice in that receiver room? It's on ice. What does that actually change? Spacing. Everything compresses. Worthy's the guy who makes safeties backpedal on the snap. The guy who forces you to live in too high or risk getting your face melted on a go ball. Without him, Philadelphia's safeties can sit flatter and trigger downhill on crossers, screens, all the underneath stuff that's the heartbeat of Kansas City's rhythm. It's subtle until it isn't. That 8-yard glance route becomes a 3-yard catch and tackle. Those deep over shots that require the free safety to turn and run? Now the free safety squats at 12 yards and dares you to beat him outside the numbers. And when the window shrinks, the Eagles' pass rush grows. You know how this works. Compressed routes plus longer developing concepts equals more time for those ends to tee off. Kansas City's counter without a true burner will be to live in quick game and motion. You'll see more stacks and bunches to manufacture free releases, more RPO slants, more stick and spacing. You'll see the tight end room by committee chewing targets. You'll see backs leaking out as hot options. It's not that Patrick Mahomes can't still carve. He can carve with a spoon. But you're asking him to string 10-play drives against a defense that can top-lock the crossers and rally to the ball. That's a razor's edge. I can already hear the pushback. Come on, man. They've won high-leverage games without a so-called number 1 wideout forever. It's Mahomes. He'll spray it around and Kelce will eat. Sure, and when it works, we all call it genius. But even when Kansas City didn't have a big-name WR, they had someone who scared you vertically enough to hold a safety. This week, the guy who does that is doubtful, and the other rookie wideout is already out. If you're Philly, why give them the deep shot? Squeeze the middle, hit the catch point, and force the Chiefs to be perfect for 60 minutes. That's the entire ballgame. Slide to Buffalo, because this one's not as shiny on the marquee, but it matters just as much in the standings. Ed Oliver is out against the Jets with a left ankle injury. Got stepped on in Wednesday's practice. He's been in a boot and using a scooter to get around, and sources say he could miss weeks. The man is coming off what DC Bobby Babbage called the best overall game he's played. Go back to Week 1, 6 tackles and a sack. He only had 3 sacks all last season, and he forced a fumble on Derrick Henry that swung their comeback. That's a tone setter on the interior. That's disruption you can't fake. Now look at the matchup. The Jets ran for the 4th most yards in Week 1, 182 on the ground. That's not a team that's shy about what they want to do. Without Oliver, Buffalo loses the guy who wins first down before the ball clears the mesh. You lose that sudden blast through the A-gap that turns 2nd and 5 into 2nd and 11. You lose the interior push that squeezes the pocket into the quarterback's lap and forces floaters to the sideline. And it's not just Oliver. The Bills' defense is banged up across the board. Tre'Davious White's groin, Taron Johnson's quad, rookie safety Jordan Hancock's shoulder, linebacker Shaq Thompson's hamstring and hand, all questionable. You can't be everywhere at once. So what's the consequence? If you're Buffalo, you either spin a safety down to plug the interior and invite one-on-one shots outside with a dinged-up secondary, or you keep too high and pray your interior rotation by committee holds up against double teams. That's a bad menu. The Jets want a rock fight. Make it muddy, shorten the game, and let their backs pound at the soft spots until you blink. The Bills have Miami on Thursday night in 6 days. Fast turnaround with your best interior disruptor already ruled out. That ankle's not a one-day story. It's a week-and-a-half problem at minimum. You tell me that doesn't shape how they call this thing? It's just a defensive tackle, I can hear the casuals say. No, it's the wrong defensive tackle at the wrong time. Go ask Derrick Henry's ribcage if Ed Oliver is just anything after last Sunday. That forced fumble was a momentum pivot, and the sack and 6 tackles weren't empty calories. That's on top of his get-off, which messes up your double teams and frees linebackers to run. Without that, Buffalo's linebackers are getting climbed on and shoved out of gaps. It changes how you fit the run, which changes your third downs, which changes how many times Josh Allen has the ball, and what the scoreboard looks like in the fourth quarter. Football's a chain reaction. You pull out the linchpin, and everything behind it wobbles. And then there's Cleveland. Second-round pick Quinshon Judkins was a full participant the last 2 days, but he's still listed as questionable to make his debut against the Ravens. He returned to practice this week. He met with the league on Wednesday under the personal conduct policy after prosecutors dropped the charges, and the team's keeping the door cracked. But questionable is questionable. Add in right tackle Jack Conklin, also questionable, and defensive tackle Mike Hall already ruled out. This isn't nothing. Judkins is supposed to be the spark, the fresh legs, the change-up. You know what rookies do to a run room? They add pop. They hit the crease a half beat faster. They turn a muddle into 6. They give you a hot hand to ride when the game gets sticky. If he's limited or sits, you're back to running back by committee and asking the passing game to shoulder more against a Ravens front that doesn't exactly let you breathe. And if Conklin's not 100%, you're not just missing a spark, you're down some oomph on the edge. That means fewer clean edges on wide runs, more 2nd and 9s, more obvious passing downs. It tightens everything. He's a rookie, man. Running back is plug and play. That's the chorus. I don't buy it this week, not against Baltimore. The whole point of adding a rookie like this is to change the math, for the defense and for your own sideline. It's a rivalry game, it's physical, and you need someone who can make his own yards when the block is stalemated. If it's not Judkins doing that, and your right tackle is iffy, then your margin for error is paper thin. Also, remember, with Mike Hall out, your defense is already juggling its interior rotation. So if this turns into one of those AFC North grinder games, the offense can't afford to be stuck in neutral for a quarter. The spark matters. Tie it back to the next snap and the next 2 weeks. For Kansas City, no Worthy likely means you can't threaten the top of the defense the same way. Against Philly, that invites those safeties to clamp down and forces you to be perfect on timing. That's hard even for Mahomes. And if the return timetable is really week 3, you're asking this receiver room to gut out 2 straight heavyweight fights without the guy who distorts coverage. For Buffalo, Oliver's absence is a 2-game storyline. The Jets right now, the Dolphins in 6 days. If he can't go Thursday, and Sean McDermott said he doesn't know the chances yet, you're asking an interior by committee to hang on against 2 very different but very potent run threats back-to-back. You want to start 2-0 in the division? You better steal possession some other way. Because your best path to getting off the field, interior chaos, just limped to the sideline. For Cleveland, if Judkins debuts but on a pitch count, or doesn't debut at all, you've got to manufacture explosives elsewhere. Script him touches early if he's active so you know what you've got. If he's not, then the first 15 plays better have misdirection and quick hitters built in, because the Ravens will test your patience. And if Conklin's not himself, your 5-man protection on long developing stuff becomes a pray and say situation. Here's what you can watch for at home to know if I'm right. Chiefs-Eagles. If Kansas City lives in quick game on early downs, screens, hitches, little pivots, and you don't see those early deep shots to the outside, they're telling you straight up, we don't have the field stretcher. Also clock the Eagles' safeties. If they're consistently sitting closer to the line and arriving at the catch point in sync, they're not afraid of getting beat over the top. Bills-Jets. First quarter, inside runs. If the Jets are landing 4, 5, 6 a pop on duo and inside zone, Buffalo's missing Oliver's shock through the A-gap and compensating with extra hats. When you see a safety spinning down late and corners left on islands, you'll know the Bills are trying to patch the middle and living dangerously outside. Browns-Ravens. If Judkins is active, you'll see it early. Couple of scripted touches, get him in rhythm. If he's not, you'll see Cleveland lean on quick rhythm throws and maybe a little empty to create light boxes. If their first 2 drives end with 2nd and 9 runs that go nowhere, that's the spark missing. So yeah, I'm planting the flag. Week 2 is being decided by absences. Kansas City's spacing problem without Worthy changes how Philly sits on routes. Buffalo's run fits without Oliver change what the Jets can chew off on early downs, and maybe what Miami can do on a short week. And Cleveland's rookie juice being in limbo, combined with questions at right tackle and an interior defender out, shifts the balance in a bully ball AFC North matchup. You disagree? Good. That's why we do this.
Tell me which absence flips a game more.
KC without the field stretcher, Buffalo without the interior hammer, or Cleveland waiting on the spark. Who's got it wrong? Me, the safeties, or the scoreboard?